Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Difficult week. Very, very difficult week, unfortunately. Nothing to do but get myself a nice big mug of vino and get down to figuring out what went wrong. IndyCar fixed at Nashville, first up. I'm really enthusiastic to race here again. I really enjoyed the combo. I just wasn't any good at it, unfortunately. Well, maybe that's a little bit too harsh. I was good at it for 5 laps at a time, 10 laps at a time, 30 laps at a time, but sooner or later a mistake would creep in, and in these cars it just takes one mistake and you are dead. Qualified pretty high up here, and the first few laps or so everything went pretty well moving forward. Really maximising our performance. It's a very strong field. We're unlikely to win, but we can certainly finish high. Settling in very nicely indeed as we whip it forward to lap 8. And it looks like this is going to be a really good pass as we try and get underneath P6. We just can't make it stick for the long term, and he gets back underneath us. So we're going to try and settle back in and regroup. It's lap 17 now, just following along behind, trying to keep out of his dirty air. You can see I'm running a higher line to his lower line. Slightly slower, but it is going to keep our tyres together in the long run. Just keeping it together. We're aware that there's a faster driver coming up behind us who we're probably going to have to let through, but everything's fine. And then, unaccountably, I just carry a bit too much speed through here. And there we go. Into the barrier. And that's more than enough suspension damage to end our race. Now this is my onboard, and the frustrating thing about a lot of this is that there's really not going to be a lot to say. All you can see here is just, I carry too much speed. You can hear the tyres going a bit more than usual, into the wall, and that is the end of that. But the only positive thing that can be taken from this is that we kept it together, we let Brian through nice and politely, we dropped it down to the inside, got onto the apron, and we didn't cause a caution through our own incompetence. Right, enough of that. Let's go on to race 2 and see how we screwed that one up. Right, early in the race once again, a bit lower down the field unfortunately, and here a problem returning from the first race. It looks like we've got a really good run to gain a position here. We take it to the inside, we carry too much speed, we just can't quite hold it, and we go from gaining a position to losing a position, which is not good. A bit of a pattern then develops for the next 20 laps. We get in 75 to 80% really good turns, and then the others are just bloody awful, and any gains we've made are completely undone. But not to worry, someone else has crashed, caution flag's out, let's see what we can make of this misfortune. And as it turned out, I kind of forgot the most important thing about the caution flag, which is that it comes out when people crash, and you should expect to find people crashed on the racing surface, and kind of didn't do that. Will go on board with me and just explore the details of my shame a bit more. You know, Igor in front did the right thing and slowed down enough to avoid this nonsense, and I did not, and I locked up and I went into the wall, and now I'm dead. Right, here's race 3. Definitely going to need me emotional support Vino for this. Right on board with P11 now, innocently minding his own business, coming up behind some slower driver in a yellow car, don't know who he is. He's just going to quite innocently take the inside and get turned down on. I knew he was there. We'll see it again from the TV camera. I knew he was there, but I didn't translate that into, you know, he's probably going to have a run and he's probably going to be a bit faster than you, so maybe you shouldn't turn all the way down into lane 2. And sure, there was a bit of netcode there, but the question is, why was there netcode? There was netcode because the game was predicting that I was going to turn down into him. Can't get away with blaming netcode. This one's all on me. Cheers. So, Nashville has sucked, but fortunately I had another plan for this week. Now, I've been wanting to do the official NASCAR Series races for quite a while, and this I thought would be the ideal place to do it. Texas. Mile-and-a-half oval, looks pretty similar to Charlotte, drives, or so I thought, pretty similar to Charlotte. How bad can it be? Right there. Yeah, pretty bad. So much of getting this track right is the exit of turn 2, and particularly trying to do it on cold tyres and with a heavy car that's full of fuel. It is so easy to just overdrive either on entry or mid-corner, and the really annoying thing is that when you do that, it doesn't let you know straight away. No, it holds on to that information until you try to exit the corner and put the power down, at which point it just sends you into the wall. So let's join an AI race and see how this works in practice. We're just going to overdrive corner entry. We're not going to get down to the inside like we're trying. We're going to hit the first seam, and then when we try to accelerate out, the tyres are suddenly going to grip up again. There's the twitch, and we're dead. A big shout out to some of the people in the IndyCar Discord for helping me figure out what's going on here. Now this looks like I just got loose on exit, but that's not what's happening at all. What's actually happened is that I've lost traction at the start of the corner, and it's only become obvious when I'm exiting the corner. Very similar to how the ARCA car behaves, and it took me far too long to realise that. Now we died like that a lot, so in the interest of variety, let's just take it as read that I put about 10 clips of that up, and let's see something else. Now this is me trying to take a high line through 3 and 4. The trouble with that is that if you're not tight to the inside, there's a very nasty bump. If you're travelling too fast, you'll go over it, it'll unsettle the car, and then something like this happens. Have a look at that again. We're going to go on board. Now what I want you to do is watch really carefully as we come into turn 4. Watch how the car shakes as we hit that bump. Right there, and now we're out of shape. We never have control back until we hit the wall trying to come through the dry oval. Bonk. And from then it's just a case of keeping it in the wall and trying to avoid a caution. Right then, speaking of cautions, let's just watch. God, it's terrible. It's so bad. Oh! Oh, that does not get any better. We'll see it again from the car in front. Yeah, he checks up, but just sloppy from me. I was expecting the car to answer like an Indy car. Okay, this next race we did live on stream. Now the VOD is still there if you want to go and watch it. Basically what happened here is that I had so little confidence coming out of turn 2. I put the thing on pole with a great quali lap, and then I just fell backwards and backwards and backwards through the field, and then on about the 5th caution, couldn't avoid the wreckage and piled into it. So, the one race I did all week, which was not a complete and total dumpster fire. Now this is an open setup IndyCar race, very long, 125 laps. I suspect that a lot of people were in the same position as me, in which we were using setups that frankly were too good for us, too loose for us, and too difficult to drive. I spent the vast majority of this race just clinging on for dear life and hoping that I wouldn't die in turn 2. Much like that fella's just done. Now this race was all about attrition, driving between cautions, waiting for other people to die, and trying not to die myself. It was a great learning experience, but also seriously terrifying, and I really do now have no illusions about how good I'm not. You know, 2000 iRating, once, whatever. I am going to leave you to the beautiful sounds of Whitebelt Audio, and if there's anything to say, I think I'm just going to bung the caption up. The real learning begins here. Cheers.
Five minutes later. 5 minutes later. Five minutes later.